Monday, May 6th, Common Council meeting to order. We will begin with Councilwoman Huffman with the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call, Clerk Treasurer Parthone.
Councilwoman Huffman. Present. Councilwoman Ficus.
Present.
Councilman Galloway.
Here.
Councilwoman West.
Here.
Councilman Buchanan.
Here.
Councilwoman Konechny.
Present.
Councilman Frankie.
Here.
All present.
Approval of minutes, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Petitions and comments of citizens. We'll begin with Rick Ogle. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Turning into a bad habit. Rick Ogle, 1902 Indiana Ave. I just had a couple of updates because on Indiana Ave, on the restructuring of it, on page 139 or 129 of the project map that's in, at the library, there's 357 pages to that thing. On page 129, and 130, they list proposed fire hydrants, trees, et cetera, for how the project would be. They did tell me that, the project manager told me that they will not put bump outs on the street south of South Avenue. They won't do that. They will talk to the city about putting crossings, like a crossing on, say, for instance, Hathaway Street. They won't do it. They cannot do it by law. The city has to do it. Even if it doesn't get done before they do the contracts, they said they're willing to talk to the city and make the adjustment and, do the change order for it if the city would approve to put an ADA-approved crossing there. Not a crossing, but, and they are not against change orders. They do it all the time. Even though the contractor, the bids are going out soon, like in the next week or so. They said that they're open to that, they're willing to talk with the city about it. I did hear from a city employee a while back that NDOT will do what NDOT wants to do. And that's not the way that NDOT was when I was talking to them. They're very receptive. And most of the NDOT people, they live in town. So, they do understand the problems on Indiana Ave. And that was it.
Thank you. And just as FYI, the Board of Works meeting on Wednesday at 9 a.m. NDOT will be here to at least bring forward the agreement between the state and the city. And we look forward to some discussions because on the sidewalk portion, we're looking at overall a bid of about, I think, just under $5 million. We'll see how it comes out. But we would look forward to further participation in different ways between the city and the state financially or looking to do things. So that'd be fantastic.
And I really would think it necessary to get some kind of a crossing.
Well, and
Thanks.
I'm glad to hear NDOT is willing.
That is what they said.
Thank you. Bob's, I'm going to say it, Psycho?
That's okay, I'll state my name in the record.
Please do.
Okay, Bob Seco, I'm a
middle school foods and nutrition teacher here at LaPorte Middle School. So we were watching a program the other day on Titans of Popcorn and Orville Redenbacher, Fred Menon, okay? And then my students were, I have one student here, but my students were talking, how come there's no memorial around here for Fred Menon? You know, Orville's got a nice statue in downtown Valparaiso, but all Fred Menon has, the inventor of the Jiffy Pop, for those who do not know, right? He's got a sign over the bridge on Fail Road. So we're kind of undertaking our fundraising effort for a state historical marker. So I was kind of in front of the council today, kind of asking for, you know, the procedures, what kind of permission would I need to kind of have this. It's a $3,300 undertaking, which that's our fundraising efforts. It's going to be a lot of popcorn, obviously, and cookie sales and things like that. So, but at the end of the day, we'd like to kind of have it on the, LaPorte's got 5 of the Indiana historical markers, and one of them's on the Courthouse Square on the south side. Now, Fred Menon, the factory was at 506 Clay Street. Now, that might be a location, but there's just an empty building there. So I was thinking maybe on the east side, kind of across from Enzo's, on the east side of the courthouse. So I know it's a public, you know, property, but, you know, there's got to be some kind of permission. So I'm not aware of that, so that's kind of why I'm here addressing the council now. And hopefully we can get kind of like some, maybe in the next meeting, maybe like, okay, that sounds good, kind of permission, and then we can move ahead with our fundraising efforts. And then, you know, commemorate, you know, Fred Menon with something besides, you know, a bridge that nobody sees over Fail Road.
I would say, and thank you for doing this, and by the way, do you mind introducing the student that's with you?
Yeah, that's Annabella.
Please come
Yeah, that's
forward.
one of my 8th grade students.
If you don't mind stating your name for the record.
Hello, I'm Annabella Underwood. Oh,
You can pull that down.
hello, I'm Annabella Underwood.
Thank you for coming this evening, Annabella.
I'm the only one.
I told her she wouldn't have to talk, so you guys are costing me more extra credit.
Thank
Just so you know, okay.
We love to see our young people involved in their government. So what triggered this for you?
So we were watching this video that he was speaking of. I really wasn't paying much attention, but I like popcorn. It's for movies and stuff. It's very famous, although it gets really expensive and boring at the movies. But the person who created Jiffy Pop barely gets known. Like, you just stare at Jiffy Pop, you think, oh, it's a good popcorn, that's it. I don't know. I don't like speaking.
She's doing a great job, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good job.
And can you actually still, I have to ask, still purchase Jiffy Pop?
You can.
Oh, yeah, $2.11, top shelf at Walmart, so.
Mayor, I have a little insight on the historical designations. I'm on the Historical Society, the
Okay.
County LaPorte Historical Society, and we've applied for numerous state landmark designations.
Okay.
I would, so any entity can apply.
Yep, I have the application right here.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be, you know, the city or whatever.
Yeah.
So any entity can apply. I would encourage you to go to and meet with our county historian, Bruce Johnson.
Okay.
Because he's applied for many, and he knows the do's and don'ts. There's been many get rejected for simple
Sure,
things. And they have some history on the Jiffy Pop, you know, brand and stuff. So I would encourage you to talk to him. In terms of it being placed on a municipal area, that I don't have insight on, but
I would say David Heinhold in the Planners Department, 362-2327.
Okay.
And that'll save you maybe to get started earlier and not have to come back to another meeting, but maybe get working immediately, so.
Okay.
And you can count on the council here for supporting financially your fundraisers.
You said that was David Heinhold?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
What's his number? Can we give him his number?
Yeah,
real quick?
362-2327. And thank you for coming before us this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sierra Sujesh.
Okay, as you all know, my name is Sierra Sujesh, and I live at 204 Jefferson Avenue. And I'm going to sound like a broken record. For 6 years that I've lived there, the house next door, 202 Jefferson, has been empty. It is owned by an absentee property owner, and he doesn't even respond to any of the city's, you know, phone calls or mail or anything anymore. The house has been empty since right after I moved in. It's uninhabitable, it's been locked up, and nothing has been done. In fact, the garage, which I thought was the best part of the property, I noticed this year has 2 holes in the roof. Something needs to be done. There's weeds all over the place. The grass right now is over a foot tall, and the sidewalk on the Adams side of the property is being lifted up because of a tree on the tree lawn. And I've talked privately with Jeff and Tom about it, but, you know, I'm just asking something finally be done. I haven't pushed it before, but, you know, 6 years is getting to be a long time. And my other one is the downtown. I've been bringing up for 3 years that we don't have any seating on Lincoln Way or that for people that need to take a break or want to just sit and watch cars go by. When I was a kid, the senior citizens used to sit on the courthouse wall and just watch the city go by. But now you can't go near it and there's no place to sit. If somebody gets tired or that, and also all the upheaval on the sidewalks and the street in the downtown area. I tripped again Saturday going to Emmy's Bakery. Food is great. I love the big-sized donuts. But, I mean, how many times is somebody going to trip? I'm worried that some little kid's going to trip and be seriously impaired or damaged from it. So, you know, I've been asking questions for 3 years. I haven't heard anything. I don't know what the plan is, if there is one, and when the problem is going to be fixed. Thank you.
Sue, just as an FYI, the house, thanks to Jeff Batchelor and Code Enforcement's work, the 202 Jefferson was sold on tax sale, and the new owners will be taking over. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I think in the next couple months. I don't have a date of that.
Hey, that'll be
So,
great.
it was closed, the owner is gone, and we do have a
He's
new
been
owner.
gone more ways than one.
Correct, so I wanted you to know Jeff was working and his team were working, and sometimes the bureaucracy process takes a little bit.
I know, that's why I haven't rattled your cage before now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Standing committee reports. Council President Frankie.
Redevelopment Commission met May 24th here in council chambers at 5:15. Claim docket was approved and bills were paid. Motion was made to approve the closing on the Don George Ford property officially and an application for a grant match for the Boyd Boulevard Stormwater Separation Improvement Project where it intersects Industrial Drive was discussed and approved. This is just for Craig or somebody to file for the grant, and hopefully we will get it. It's a 50-50 grant, and that project's estimated to be around $5 million, so that could be certainly a huge and needed help. Motion was approved for a special meeting on today, and I'll cover what happened there in a minute. And an approval was given to conduct a survey on a Dietrich property for possible economic development actions. Today at 5 p.m. Was the special meeting, and a resolution was approved to amend and expand the LaPorte Economic Development Area Economic Development Plan. This designates 2 new allocation areas, one for the 39 North expansion area and one for the Boyd Boulevard expansion area. Resolution will go to the Plan Commission meeting on 5/14. Assuming it's approved there, it will be in front of us on our 5/20 meeting. And finally, there's 2 more requests for prepayment on purchasing water main pipe in the Thomas Rose Industrial Park area was approved. This is the first step in improving the water infrastructure, not only in Thomas Rose, but also for the 39 North area. So it's nice to see quick action on 39 North water infrastructure. And finally, an approval was made to allow Nick Minnick to create a subsequent agreement to amend the size of Dr. Zhang's dental property in Newport Landing by about 1/10 of an acre. This is due to a NIPSCO switch point being located in what would have been the center of her drive, and it cannot be moved. The city wasn't aware of it until construction started, so basically they're just going to expand it a little bit so the drive can be moved. And that's all I have.
Councilwoman Huffman.
The Sustainability Commission was meeting the fourth Monday of every month, but due to scheduling conflicts, they will be meeting the fourth Tuesday of every month at 4 p.m. in council chambers. End of report.
Councilwoman Ficus.
Park Board met on Wednesday, April 17th. Nicholas Smith was hired on as the new Recreation Director. He comes from the Boys and Girls Club in Elgin, Illinois. There was discussion and approval to name the new Fox Park Amphitheater Plaza in honor of Maria Fruth. Maria recently retired as the Health Foundation of LaPorte's founding CEO and was instrumental in funding numerous projects throughout our parks. RFPs will be going out to get quotes and plans for a new play structure at Hastings Park. The money used for the project is coming from 2 years of Big Comedy LaPorte Trivia Night profits with a match from the Park Foundation. The structure will be in honor of Amanda Sorg, who is a very involved member of Big Comedy LaPorte. The new structure will replace the wooden ones currently at the park. RFPs will also be going out for a new play structure at Rumley Park. The plan is to add a climbing structure to complement the structure that is already there. John Rubel with Planned Environment Associates presented 3 placement options for a new kayak launch at Kiwanis Teledyne Park. A placement option was approved and the project will be set out for bid. The Endowment Fund event to be held at Beechwood Golf Course this year will offer free greens fees and cart comp with a $50 donation. Also, for the first time ever, the Park Foundation will be holding a golf outing on September 6th. Green fees and cart fees have been waived for this event. The Civic Auditorium will be installing a used LED wall using money from their non-reverting fund this year, with a balance being paid back to the Fox Trust Fund with a 7-year loan from the Civic Advisory Board. No tax dollars are being used for this purchase. The wall will enhance lighting and video needs at civic events. And then, as a reminder, because of tomorrow's primary, Traffic Commission will be meeting next Tuesday, May 14th, 5 p.m. at the police station.
Roger Galloway.
Police Merit Commission will meet on the 14th at 2 o'clock at the police station. And the next meeting for the Mayor's Veterans Committee is the 13th, 5 o'clock at Park Department. And the brick dedication will be the second Saturday in June, which is the 8th, at 2 o'clock, and we have 30 bricks to put in.
Cool. That's popular.
Yep.
Good job. Councilwoman West.
The Fire Merit Commission reported that 17 applicants had passed the mental aptitude test for the hiring list. Each of these will move on to interviews scheduled for May 15th and 16th, and their next meeting will be June 5th at 6:30 at the Fire Station Number 1. The bid district met on April 8th with the board appointing Patty Pearson from one of our downtown shops, the Pink Sheep, to the bid board. There was discussion of the remaining of the downtown sidewalk pavers, benches, and trash receptacles, and bids for the maintenance, the watering of our beautiful flowers downtown, and some other repairs were approved. And also during that meeting, there was a discussion of our downtown mural that is underway, and I'm really excited about that, and I hope to see more of those in our city soon. And the bid board will meet June 10th in city chambers at 5 o'clock. The UEA board had their April meeting, and they are nearing a special grant to foster the redevelopment of the former LaPorte Sporting Goods building. And along with the downtown mural, we will be having a beautiful sculpture take residence at Plaza 618 very soon. And their next meeting will be Wednesday, May 15th in City Hall chambers at 4 p.m.
Councilman Buchanan.
The Plan Commission is scheduled to meet next week, next Tuesday, 5/14 at 6 p.m. here in council chambers.
Councilwoman Konechny.
Nothing to report, Your Honor.
Craig Phillips, Annual Tax Abatement Compliance 2024.
Thank you. On an annual basis, the City Council is required to consider and approve any abatements for companies that previously received abatement approvals. Those companies are required to submit what are called CF1 forms, compliance forms, to us for consideration, and we compare those to the statement of benefits that they originally submitted to the city for consideration for their original approval of their abatements. So the companies that we received CF1 forms are attached to the packet that I gave you, and we determine whether or not, based on the information that's submitted, whether they're in substantial compliance or they've made a reasonable effort towards substantial compliance. So I'll go through these, and then what I would request is that you make a motion with regard to those that you consider are in substantial compliance and list those companies accordingly, and then those that have made a reasonable effort to comply with their statement of benefits forms be a separate motion accordingly. So the first we received was American Licorice Company. I'm not going to go through all the details, but basically they received a personal property abatement. You can see the numbers there. In each of these cases, the company, there's an employment target, a salary target, and an investment target. If they met all three of those, basically, or exceeded those, they would be considered to be in substantial compliance. And if there's one of those that's perhaps less than what was anticipated for various reasons, they would be considered to be have made a reasonable effort towards compliance with their statement of benefits. So in the case of American Licorice, we believe that based on the numbers that are presented, that they are in substantial compliance. They significantly exceeded their estimated salaries, despite not quite making the investment target, but both exceeding the employment and the salary estimates. Wind Machine Windever Incorporated, we believe they're in substantial compliance based on the employment and salary targets, despite the investment not being as large as they originally anticipated. They substantially increased their employment and in turn significantly increased the anticipated salaries for their company. Jaeger Unitech, we believe they are in substantial compliance. Their estimates for employment and salaries and investment all exceeded those anticipated. B&B Manufacturing, we believe they've made a reasonable effort to comply with the statement of benefits. They had some loss of employees, which is on an uptick from a conversation I had with them. They exceeded their anticipated salaries, and they met their investment targets. So we believe they've made a reasonable effort to comply with their statement of benefits. Howmet Casting, again, a reasonable effort to comply with the statement of benefits. They are very close to their employment targets. They had a downturn, but they substantially recovered from that downturn of employment. As you can see, their salaries slightly less than what was anticipated, but their investment, in their real property substantially exceeded what they anticipated originally. LaPorte 401 MP RK6 LLC, which is the Newport medical office building in Newport Landing, we believe has made a reasonable effort to comply based on employment, estimated salaries, and investment, all being close to what was anticipated. And then finally, Pine Lake Development LLC has exceeded all estimates as presented, and come very close with regard to the real property investment. So we believe they're in substantial compliance. You have copies of all of the forms in the packet that was given to you for consideration and signature based on what you approve. And as I stated, we'll if you would please consider two different resolutions with regard to substantial compliance or reasonable effort. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions for Mr. Phillips?
Mr. Phillips, just curious, for American Licorice, for example, when is that abatement term up? It looks like the resolution was in.
So it's interesting. So basically, they're eligible for 10 years of abatement. So the first time that they submit their compliance form is what starts the clock for 10 years. So sometimes the investment takes a period of time to be completed, the actual construction of the investment. So basically, I believe this is based on our calculations, they first submitted their form. I have a chart that basically talks about when they first submitted their compliance form. But that starts the clock, basically, and we do track that. We have a spreadsheet that tracks all that, so we do know that they're eligible this year, even though it looks like they're up, because the investment, the compliance form, I think the first compliance form they submitted was in 2016.
Further questions?
So, Your Honor, I make a motion as pertains to American Licorice Company, Wind Machine, Jaeger Unitech. Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry, should I start over? Your Honor, I make a motion as pertains to American Licorice Company, Wind Machine, Jaeger Unitech, and Pine Lake Development LLC. I move to certify the taxpayer's current compliance statement of benefits on the following grounds. The taxpayer has substantially complied with the statement of benefits.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
So then I go ahead and I'm going to make a motion as pertains to B&B Manufacturing, Helmet Castings, and Laporte 401 MP RK6 LLC. I move to certify the taxpayer's current compliance statement of benefits on the following grounds. The taxpayer has made a reasonable effort to comply with the statement of benefits.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Councilman Buchanan.
Your Honor, I'd like to introduce a resolution read for the first and only time in its entirety.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilman Buchanan.
A resolution adopting the definitive policy and written fiscal plan, whereas Indiana Code 36-4-3.3-1D requires that a municipality develop a written fiscal plan and establish a definitive policy by resolution that meets the requirements set forth in Indiana Code 34-4-13-3 for an area proposed to be annexed, and whereas the City of LaPorte, Indiana City, has prepared a fiscal plan for an area to be annexed as a result of a voluntary petition submitted by the owners of the territory, and whereas the written fiscal plan complies with the requirements of Indiana law regarding the provision of capital and non-capital services to the annexation territory and should be adopted by the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana as follows. The written fiscal plan attached hereto and incorporated as Exhibit A is hereby adopted for the annexation territory, and the proposed annexation is set forth in ordinance for annexation for Qualls Real Estate Holding LLC. And the parcels are listed. Parcel numbers are listed.
Mr. Cook or Mr. Phillips.
Somebody.
Thank you. You should have a copy of the annexation fiscal plan in front of you, dated March 28th, 2024. I would direct your attention to begin on page 3 of the document, the area description. The area included in the annexation is approximately 92 acres. It's made up of 2 parcels that total 92 acres, and it is over 12.5% contiguous to the corporate boundaries of the city. It is currently occupied by vacant, that's supposed to be vacant, agricultural land, completely undeveloped. The zoning currently is M1 Light Industrial District, and the proposal is for it to remain the same. The current population is estimated at 0, and we do not anticipate that there would be any additional occupation of any homes or population in the area. And the real property assessed valuation for the area is currently at $137,100 based on 2023 taxes payable for 2024. Moving on, non-capital services. We believe that there would be a very small increase in the cost to police protection for the property of approximately $200 for the purpose of additional fuel and vehicle maintenance for the area. And then in addition, street maintenance. It would add about 0.45 miles of streets to the city along its frontage, which would cost roughly $2,500 per year as a result of the annexation. There are no additional non-capital services we believe are affected by the annexation in terms of costs. There are no capital improvements necessary as part of the annexation because the property is immediately adjacent to all existing capital services. And if you turn to page 11, that's the summary of the costs related to the annexation that I just laid out. And then the anticipated revenues. Where is it? Okay, sorry. The anticipated revenues of $137,100 as compared to the costs from the taxes received from that area. Initially, there's a cost in excess of the revenues that would be brought in, but since this is completely undeveloped and based on the track record of the owner and the development track record of the particular owner in this case, we anticipate the property to be fully developed over a period of time, and so once those development activities occur, then the costs will be definitely exceeded by the revenues brought in by the development. So we're not concerned about the initial costs for this. We anticipate the property owner turning this property around relatively quickly in terms of development. So based on that, I'm happy to answer any other questions that you have.
Questions for Mr. Phillips?
The developer will cover the cost of streets.
Well, the city will cover the cost of streets, but like I said, we anticipate the developer, based on their track record, to start developing the property relatively quickly.
Will that be through a TIF that would be paid for?
No, that would be that would be through motor vehicle highway and local road and streets revenues.
To give some context, the Qualls' most recent development, there's 150,000 square feet, and they're paying almost $300,000 in property.
300,000. Yeah. 300,000 square feet of.
Oh, 300,000
300,000
sorry.
square feet, and they were paying roughly $200,000 on that first building. This property is much larger, so we anticipate a much more substantial increase in revenues as a result of development.
Putting in the roads, for example, isn't going to happen until they're ready to develop the parcel, correct?
Yeah, the road we're referencing here is actually as County Road 200 North.
Got it.
The property abuts County Road 200 North.
Further questions for Mr. Phillips? This is a resolution. It can pass this evening. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Council President Frankie, second and final reading of ordinance.
Your Honor, I move to read an ordinance for the second and final time by title only.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Council President Frankie.
An ordinance of the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, annexing to and bringing within the city limits of LaPorte, Indiana, and amending the zoning ordinance for property located in Center Township, contiguous herewith. Name of petition, Qualls Real Estate Holding, LLC. End of title.
Mr. Cook, anything you'd like to add?
Good evening, Council. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the LaPorte Economic Advancement Partnership. Mayor, I don't have anything. I just would elaborate. I think the question you asked, Tim, is in regards to roads. Craig is speaking on the existing roads. In any development of plan where roads would need to be run throughout the parcel, that would be a different discussion that we would have in tandem with the developer in terms of who pays for what particular cost. Beyond that, we've talked about this at length. I think Craig mentioned it, but this is a great expansion of the industrial park. I think it'll be an area that we'll have strong interest in, and happy to work with the Qualls family on that.
Thanks.
Bert, where else, the Qualls family's done a couple developments. We just referenced the most recent one, but they have what, 3 or 4?
They own numerous buildings in LaPorte, Stark County, so on Fail Road, they own buildings along Fail, north of Lincoln Way. We referenced the 2 buildings they built completely spec in the industrial park. That's 300,000 square feet at this point. And they own assets down in Stark County as well. So I think they're well spread out through our market.
Questions for Mr. Cook? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilwoman,
Mayor,
Sure.
apologize. The next step will be to work with Courtney to get this published in the newspaper, and then 30 days after that, barring no challenge, it'll be officially annexed into the city. And because it's a super voluntary annexation, the only challenge, legal challenge, is contiguity, which we clearly meets here, so.
thank you, Mr. Cook. Councilwoman Konechny.
Your Honor, I'd like to introduce the resolution read for the first and only time.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Konechny.
Resolution to transfer funds within the 2024 budgets. Whereas there are additional monies needed in certain line items in the 2024 budgets in order to pay for essential services and obligations. Now therefore, be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the following transfers be made within the following budgets for the year of 2024. MVH 2201-524, from 111 salaries to 362 equipment, $27,472. CCD 4402-704, from 431.015, CCD other capital outlays, to 451 CCD lease payments, $64,575. End resolution.
So this is a resolution. It can pass this evening. Clerk Treasurer Parthone.
I did send explanation to council in their council packet. The street department transfer of funds is for the purchase of a sign machine, and I'm looking in my email.
Instead of sending this out.
Salt spreader and sign machine. We did receive an insurance refund for the snowplow that was totaled in the amount of $28,000. Before doing an additional appropriation, we'll just see where we land at the end of the year. If we need to do an additional appropriation, we will. And the same with the CCD transfer. We're gonna transfer the funds from capital outlays to lease payments. We ended the fire truck lease payment in CCD, so this lease payment takes that over. We didn't have financing set up yet this year, so we can do an additional appropriation if we need to. We don't need to yet, so we're just doing transfers.
Do I have a motion to
So
approve?
moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Other business? Big day tomorrow to go, get out and vote. If you don't get out and vote, you're gonna get the government
That you voted for?
that you didn't vote for. So please, get out there and vote. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Have a great evening, everybody.
They're